President Harris, Reverend Haffner. Greetings, Reverend Haffner. Widener University welcomes you today to our commencement ceremony. Widener University's motto is Mens Sana in Corpore Sano. Translated, a sound mind in a sound body. This motto pertains directly to Reverend Debra W. Haffner's mission. A Unitarian Universalist minister and sexuality educator, Reverend Haffner has helped to create communities where the concepts of sexuality and religion exist in harmony. The endorsed community minister with the Unitarian Church of Westport, Connecticut, Reverend Haffner also serves as executive director of the Religious Institute in Westport, Connecticut, a multi-faith organization dedicated to sexual health, education, and justice, which she co-founded in 2001. The Religious Institute offers clergy, congregations, and denominational bodies technical assistance on addressing sexuality issues. It also assists sexual and reproductive health organizations to address religious issues and to develop outreach to faith communities. Prior to founding the Religious Institute, Reverend Haffner served as the Chief Executive Officer of the Sexuality, Information, and Education Council of the United States. In this role, she created the Religious Declaration on Sexual Morality, Justice, and Healing. She created the National Coalition to Support Sexuality Education. She created the Commission on Adolescent Sexual Health and Guidelines for Comprehensive Sexuality Education. Reverend Haffner graduated from Wesleyan University and received master's degrees from the Union Theological Seminary and Yale University School of Medicine. She is currently a visiting professor at Union Theological Seminary in New York and at the Pacific School of Religion in Berkeley, California. Reverend Haffner has written or co-authored 6 books, including Diapers to Dating, A Parent's Guide to Raising Sexually Healthy Children. This book has been translated into 10 languages, and her work has been honored by the Planned Parenthood Federation of America, by the Robert Wood Johnson Medical School, by the Society for Scientific Study of Sexuality, by the Association for the Advancement of Health Education, and by the Society for Adolescent Medicine. Therefore, in recognition of her service to the nation, her pioneering work at the intersection of religion and sexuality education, and her manifestation of leadership, Widener University takes great pride in awarding Reverend Debra W. Haffner the degree of Doctor of Public Service, honoris causa. Dr. Harris, Reverend Haffner.
Under the authority vested in me by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the trustees of Widener University, I confer upon you, Reverend Debra W. Haffner, the degree of Doctor of Public Service, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and immunities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. Great honor to have you here. Take this out of your way.
Wow. Good morning. You can do better. Good morning. President Harris, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty and staff, parents and families, and most of all, good morning to all 846 of you graduating today. I am moved almost beyond words by having my life's work recognized by this prestigious university. People have asked me, how is it that Widener, a university in Pennsylvania, had even heard of my work to give me this honorary doctorate? I've told them that when it comes to graduate training in sexuality education and sex therapy, you are the premier university in this country. One of my most important teachers and mentors, the Reverend Dr. William Staten, was the co-developer of this program. And under the leadership of President Harris, the direction first of Dr. Staten and now Dr. Betsy Crane, wherever Bill and Betsy you are, I want you to know that this program has grown to be the most outstanding preparation for sexuality professionals in this country. And I am intensely proud to now be among its degree holders. I am deeply honored to have been asked to be your commencement speaker. Actually, deeply honored doesn't begin to touch my feelings right now. To be honest, I'm a bit overwhelmed, as your previous commencement speakers have included Joe Biden, your congressman, a former Surgeon General of the United States, and a nun. I can imagine that some of the students and parents are thinking, who is Debra Haffner, and why didn't we get a famous person today? My mother and children who are here today, I think, have wondered that as well. It has been said that every minister and every rabbi, and Reverend Henderson might agree, that we really only have one sermon in us, and that every sermon we give is merely a variation. If I had to describe mine, it would be the title of the second sermon I ever gave, Life is Not a Dress Rehearsal. Regardless of your individual eschatology, a big word that I learned in seminary that means what you understand is going to come after our time as this world ends. And actually, let me assure you that I'm pretty confident it's not ending next Saturday. We've all worked too hard. That regardless of your eschatology, this today is the one life for sure you know we have been given, and it is up to us to create it as fully as we can. You all probably remember the fairy tales that you were read when you were little. They often involved a prince and a princess. They met, they fell in love, they got married, and then they lived happily ever after. When I read those stories to my own children when they were little, I would change the ending. I would say they met, they fell in love, they got married, and it was a lot of work. I wish today that I could promise you happily ever after, but like marriage, life is both wonderful and a lot of work. Some of you may remember that Billy Crystal 1991 movie City Slickers. If you haven't, look at it on Netflix. It's about middle-aged men who go on a cattle drive for a vacation. Curly, the crusty owner of the ranch, says, "Do you all know what the secret of life is? This." Billy Crystal says, "Your finger?" And Curly says, "One thing. One thing, stick to it." So I thought about standing up today and saying to you, just one thing, and sitting down. Dr. Harris told me that one of your most successful commencement speakers he had ever heard was a young CEO of a company who stood up here and said, "I was only a so-so student at Widener. I graduated. I started a company. I've made millions of dollars. I retired at 35, and if I can do it, you can do it too." And he sat down and you all stood up and gave him a standing ovation. Unfortunately, that's not my story. For me, the one thing is discovering your passion in life. Presbyterian minister Frederick Buechner defined finding your passion or your call as understanding the intersection of where the world's greatest need meets your greatest joy. I'm going to say that again. Finding where your greatest joy meets the world's greatest need. Sexuality education and sexuality in ministry have been my calling for 35 years. I want you, oh, there go the umbrellas. I want you to know that I could not have imagined how my life would have turned out 35 years ago this spring at my graduation. I was on my way to an internship in Congress. I'd been accepted to law school. I thought I would be an attorney and then a politician. If someone would have told me that 35 years later I would be a sexologist minister, I would have laughed. My career has taken me to the most amazing places. To the set of The Golden Girls with then Surgeon General Koop to talk about the Hollywood and how it could respond to the AIDS epidemic. To a meeting in the English Parliament with the House of Lords where they all had on robes and wigs to talk to them about abstinence. To debating Bill O'Reilly on national TV about whether the word uterus would damage kindergarteners. To 14 countries, including Thailand, to talk to the members of the Peace Council. My life has also been about the quiet moments of ministry, blessing a newborn baby, conducting weddings, including those of same-sex couples under the threat of arrest, to holding someone's hand as they lay dying, to a glorious night 8 years ago when I was ordained to the Unitarian Universalist ministry. The point is that you cannot possibly know today how life will evolve for you. I hope that each of you will find what you love and then find a way or create a way to make a living doing it. Oscar Wilde famously said, "Be yourself, everyone else is taken." When I asked a young friend of mine for advice about this talk, she's graduating from another Pennsylvania college, she wrote to me, "Honestly, all of us are scared of the real world. Just tell them we're going to be okay and not to let fear stand in the way of anything." It reminded me of Julian Norwich, the 14th century mystic who wrote, "All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manners of things shall be well, and I want you to know that despite the rain, it will be." I want you to also know that it is more important to be happy than it is to be successful, and that the most important parts of your life will not take place in your workplace, but with the people you love and the people who love you back. I've heard the 4 principles of Buddhism described with these simple statements that I try to use to guide my life. Just 4. Show up. Speak the truth. Do what you do with enthusiasm, and don't get attached to the outcome. Of course, the last is the hardest. It is especially at this moment of greatest change that you and me need to do the first 3. Show up, speak the truth, do what you do with enthusiasm, and trust that the rest will work out. Meister Eckhart, a 13th century mystic, wrote, "If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough." Today is a day for immense gratitude, and I am going to ask you that at the end of this ceremony, you remember to say thank you to your parents and to your family members who did so much to help you reach this place of graduation. I want to say right now thank you to my mother, my husband, and my children who are here today for the sacrifices and support that they have given me to make today possible for me. The only prayer you ever need is thank you. I'm going to cut out a few pages in the rain here, and I'm going to end with a story. You have to promise you're going to clap more at the end, okay, than that. The story is of a small village a long, long time ago. In that village, like in every village in these kind of stories, there was a wise old woman who the people of the town revered and who helped them with their problems and their big questions in life. The teenagers in that town, like teenagers ever since, doubted those elders, and they sought to discredit the wise old woman. The leader of the pack of teenagers came up with an idea. He said, "Let us go to the wise woman with a bird in our hands, and we will say to the old wise woman, 'Is the bird in our hands dead or alive?' If she says alive, we will crush the bird, and we will show her it is dead. If she says it is dead, we will open our hands, and the bird will fly away." And so they climb the hill, they go to the wise woman's home, they knock on the door, she comes out, and the teenager says, "Wise, wise woman, if you are so wise, is this bird in my hand dead or alive?" She looked at them for a very long time and was quiet. So quiet that the teenagers could barely stand it. And then she spoke to them. "The answer," she said, "is in your hands. Show up. Speak the truth. Do it with enthusiasm. Find your passion and don't get attached to the outcome. The answer is in your hands. May you choose wisely and well throughout your lives." Thank you again for this glorious honor, and blessings to each of you on your graduation day. Thank you.